Have either of you guys ever heard of something called the Brazil nut effect?
No.
Okay, so if you purchase some mixed nuts that happen to have Brazil nuts in them, the Brazil nuts will be on the top of the container. This is the Brazil nut effect. They weren't placed there. There is a complex explanation as to how the Brazil nuts always end up on the top. And it has to do with size and friction and density. They will be squeezed to the top by a variety of other smaller nuts over time, given a certain amount of movements and placements. The big nuts end up on top. Is that fascinating or what?
Sure. Let's hear it.
Okay, so now on video for the first time, a team of scientists from the University of Manchester in England has captured the complicated dynamics that cause the Brazil nut effect. According to a new paper published in the Journal of Scientific Reports, they had to put the nuts under an actual, what is the scan? CT machine in order to capture what's going on. They place a mixture of peanuts and Brazil nuts inside a shear box with the Brazil nuts initially at the bottom. They placed the shear box inside a CT machine and conducted 181 scans as the box shook up the mixed nuts, with one shear cycle between each scan to create the time-lapse video. As expected, over time, the peanuts in the mix percolated down, while several larger Brazil nuts gradually rose upwards. They found that after about 70 shear cycles it took 70 shear cycles for the first Brazil nut to reach the top, 10% of the bed of mixed nuts. This is fascinating stuff right here.
I wish they had like a time-lapse video or something.
They do. That's what I just said. Yeah.
If they had a transparent container.
Here it is.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I thought you were playing it the whole time I was talking there, Will.
Thought this was an ad.
It looks gross.
Look at the Brazil nuts marching upwards. This is obviously what a CT looks like.
What?
You just got a small piece of it here, but like, see on the left, the peanuts are on the top?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and now the Brazil nuts are on the top.
Cool.
70 cycles, 70 shakes, and the Brazil nuts are going to get there.
That's all it takes.
The way it goes. There's a lot of science in action here, but isn't it interesting how something can exist and you may notice it, but not think much about it?
Well,
and then there's a scientific reason for why it's the case.
I thought what you were going to say was they don't get eaten. But
the Brazil nut effect is that no one eats them? Are you not a big Brazil nut guy?
No, it's a lot of nut.
Yeah, that ratio does seem odd. It doesn't look like there's enough smaller nuts on the left.
Yeah.
In their study. But what I'm getting at is like everyday things that maybe your whole life you open a mixed nut container and it's been Brazil nuts and you never thought, wait a second, why is that? Or some people did enough to study it and put a name on it, the Brazil nut effect. But I never thought twice about it. I just went ahead and ate my mixed nuts. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh, Willie Doo has a nut allergy. Jeez, I didn't even think about that in his story.
Know.
Oh my God, that's a weird twist. I totally forgot in that moment. Yeah. The Brazil nut is known to most people as the largest nut in a can of mixed party nuts. Other than that, most people know little about it. It comes from an Amazonian rainforest tree by the same name.
How does it
taste?
taste?
And it is really a seed, not a nut. Willie Doo!
Yeah.
Can you have seeds or no?
I can eat seeds.
You can have a Brazil nut. I don't know. You can experience the Brazil nut effect yourself. No, you can't because you can't buy the mixed nuts. The residue would screw you up.
Yeah.
You can have a Brazil nut and that's it.
Well, I can buy it separately, can I?
I guess. But you won't experience the Brazil nut effect if you do such a thing. Yeah. Let me ask you then, Vin, since Will is not a customer, have you ever purchased mixed nuts or experienced mixed nuts?
I'd usually just get either a pistachio or cashew.
So you avoid the mixed nuts.
Yeah.
All right. Even on an airplane.
No. Oh, everything on an airplane is getting eaten.
Everything.
Everything. I need to do as many activities as possible.
Oh, you heard it here, ladies and gentlemen. Everything on an airplane is getting eaten. It's quotable.